Checking people.
Let's go.
Man, Joy Taylor just checked the entire San Francisco Bay Area, California yesterday. Goes on FS1 and goes, man, I hate the Niners and their frauds. Isn't that what you said, Joy?
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Joy. Right? That's what it sounded like to me.
That's the way I heard it, Joy.
You know what's funny? I feel like that's what every fan base hears every time I open my mouth, which is why I give up. I'm like, I'm just going to say what I think, and this is what it is. Because when I'm right, nobody comes back to follow up and apologize about how right I am.
No, we don't do that, Joy, in this business. And,
yeah, that's okay.
No, and if, by the way, if Philadelphia wins 42-3, we are certainly not calling you on Monday after you described the gap between Hurts and Purdy as massive. And I believe you said it twice, which is what has hurt Niner fans the most, Joy.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just say, I have many, many, many Niners fans in my life. Both of my producers, a lot of my producers, actually, I can't even say both, a lot of my producers are Niners fans. And I adore the Bay and San Francisco, so don't cancel my card because I'm going to come back. But, yeah, I mean, objectively, you guys don't think that Brock Purdy is a better football player than Jalen Hurts, right?
I don't think anyone's saying, yeah, no.
We'll ask the questions here, Joy. How dare you?
Yeah, I get here would be my and I don't even want to call it a rebuttal because no one's arguing the larger point, which is that yeah, Jalen Hurts he's proven more. He's more physically gifted, he's more experienced, he's all of those things. Here's my question. Are we getting ahead of ourselves just with Jalen Hurts? Forget Brock for a second. Is Jalen Hurts one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or is he simply having a great year? Carson Wentz had an MVP year for the Philadelphia Eagles one time and then was never heard from again. So I just think we're a little early to the party to say Jalen is like a Mahomes or an Allen or a Burrow and then just move on with that. I think there's more to prove, right?
Well, Jalen Hurts is an all-pro. He's 14-1 as a starter. He just smoked the Giants, and he's an MVP finalist. You know who else had a nice stretch with the Eagles that we never heard from again? Nick Foles.
Yep.
Kind of sounds like what Brock Purdy's doing. Would hate for that to be the outcome.
Now you're getting inflammatory. Now you're starting to get inflammatory.
That was a much smaller sample, and go to Nick Foles' numbers during that run. By the way, it was about 4 games, and only in the final 2 playoff games were there good numbers. I mean, now
hold on. Now.
You got to give Brock.
Hold on.
8 games.
This is where we're getting crazy.
Okay. 8 games, Joy.
Let me say first of all,
right.
I am very impressed with Brock Purdy. I think he's doing an unbelievable job. I don't know that there's anyone else that could do what Brock Purdy's doing. And we didn't know who Brock Purdy was. Obviously, you guys, in the Bay, followers of the Niners, probably knew a little bit about Brock Purdy, but you weren't expecting to see him this year.
Not much,
so for him to come in as the 3rd quarterback this year and do what he's doing is nothing short of remarkable. But if we're going to start making comparisons to Carson Wentz, you can't skip the Nick Foles comparison. Now, I think Brock Purdy is the future of the 49ers. I think they would be crazy to go back to Trey Lance, particularly if he wins this game on Sunday, which is entirely possible. And, we can have the offseason conversation later, but I don't think that Brock Purdy is Nick Foles, but I also don't think that Jalen Hurts is Carson Wentz. First of all, Carson Wentz's career fell apart in part because he's not a good leader and not a good locker room guy, which we've seen because he's now a journeyman quarterback. I never bought into the hype of Carson Wentz's MVP season to begin with. I've been on that for a long time. I think that we've seen more than enough of Jalen Hurts through his progression, through what he's done, what he did before he even came to the NFL, his development from last year to this year, what he's done consistently, the numbers that he's put up all season long. It is a big gap between Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy as a player, as a experience, and what he's accomplished this year. We can't project out Brock Purdy as if he would have never lost a game if he had played from the beginning of the season until now. But we can look at what Jalen Hurts has done all season long and the record that they have and the performances that he has. So when I say there's a massive gap between Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts, objectively, there is. But that doesn't mean that Brock Purdy isn't capable of playing an amazing game on Sunday and beating the Eagles. But the question that I answered, and this is why on our show, the clips get sent out and a little of the nuance and the bigger element of the conversation gets lost. Also, all the nice things I say about Brock Purdy and the Niners get lost as well. But objectively speaking, we weren't talking about the teams. We weren't talking about Kyle Shanahan. We weren't talking about Nick Sirianni. We weren't talking about the Niners defense. We were just comparing the two players of Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy. And there is a massive gap between Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts as players right now. Objectively, that's true.
It's funny because...
Does it matter?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. You use objectivity, but objectivity is subject to the subjectivity of the objects that the subject is looking at. So it's hilarious that you keep driving home the point of objectivity because in a greater, more global sense, aren't both of these players subject to the systems within that they are playing, and thus Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts are only as good as the systems they're playing in, Joy?
Well, no. We know Jalen Hurts is better because we got to see the Eagles without Jalen Hurts this year, and they looked terrible. So Jalen Hurts is definitely elevating the Eagles. Unfortunately, because of that injury, we got to see the Eagles without him and how it looks. Now, Brock Purdy has elevated some of the offense, which is an offense that we know can work with pretty much anybody. So I think Brock Purdy deserves credit for that when you break down the numbers, what he's been able to do. But yes, you can't separate them from where they are. That's true. So when I say objectively, I'm saying let's evaluate the numbers and the experience and all of that, all the fact that Jalen Hurts is an all-pro this year, pretty hard to do. MVP finalist, pretty hard to do. 14-1 as a starter, pretty hard to do. All of those things, that's why I say objectively. You're right. Like, you can't separate them from their teams. And the reality is Brock Purdy's not playing Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy is playing the Philadelphia defense. And Jalen Hurts will be going up against the number one defense in the league, a generational side of the ball in San Francisco. So, all these conversations are fun to have, but when we were talking about quarterback versus quarterback, that's how we're billing the game. As we know, that's not really how it's actually played.
Joy Taylor, FS1, right here with us, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. All right, let's have you answer a different question then, and I wonder where that conversation will go, and it's just a very simple one. Like, who do you think is winning this game?
Honestly, I haven't sat down to go over my pick yet because I truly do not know. I think that this is I'm excited about the AFC Championship game. We get two great quarterbacks, two great teams. But this game, I don't know if I'm like hyping myself up, but it really feels like this is going to be one of those games we talk about for a very long time. It's just two very physical teams, two well-coached teams, two quarterbacks that are playing at the highest level. You have so many incredible generational players for San Francisco that can do unbelievable things. I mean, George Kittle was just unbelievable last week. And you can go down the line. I think it's just going to be a very physical, smash-mouth, old-school football game. I'm hoping for, like, a high-scoring shootout, but I don't know that that's what we're going to get. So I honestly, I don't know. I truly don't know. I know that's a weak answer, but and eventually I'm going to have to make a pick. But they're just two really, really evenly matched teams that have played amazing football, especially down the stretch. So I just think, like, as fans, obviously I'm not an Eagles fan or a Niners fan, but,
right,
as fans of the game, I think it's going to be – I'm very, very excited for this game. I think it's the game we deserve when you go back through the whole season and look at some of the teams that had these kind of emergences throughout the season to get to the NFC Championship game and get – one of the best defenses that we've seen in a very, very long time. An incredible story with, the last pick in the draft of Brock Purdy coming in and playing at the level he's playing at. Jalen Hurts, who's, constantly having to overcome the speculation about him in Philadelphia, putting together another team that's making a run. It's just going to be a really, really fun game. So I don't have an answer for you yet. I obviously will make a pick eventually, and I know I don't have that much more time to do it. But it's just there's just so many arguments you can make for everyone that it's really, really, really going to be a tough game to predict.
Joy, what I'm hearing you say is that you're going to pick the Eagles, but you don't want to pick the Eagles on Bay Area radio, and I respect that at a certain level. So I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire, because when you eventually pick the Eagles on your national show, I will be made right, and I won't be disappointed. I'll be more disappointed that you didn't make the pick here, because I know that you think that the Eagles are going to win. But let me ask you this. What kind of a game is the kind of a game where the Niners can win? A low-scoring slugfest or a high-scoring shootout?
I think against this team, it is going to have to be a little more high-scoring. The game against Dallas was interesting, because I think that if Dak Prescott had played a better game, we might not be speaking right now. I know that you guys probably don't agree with me, but that defense taking the ball away from Dak Prescott, or Dak giving it away, however you want to look at it, really swung that game. So I think that Philadelphia is going to score more than Dallas will. Like they take care of the ball better, so they're not going to make those kind of mistakes. So I do think that the Niners offense is going to have a pretty solid performance, which I think that they will. Again, I don't know. Like, I could see this being a very low scoring game, but if it's low scoring, I think I would lean Philadelphia, because they're not going to turn the ball over. Whereas if it's a high scoring game and you get, McCaffrey going off, and we know Brock Purdy can sling it when he needs to, and you have the ability to open the field up and have these chunk plays, a shootout could go either way.
Joy, did you say the Niners need a pretty good performance or a pretty good performance? I couldn't tell, and I feel like I know you well enough to know you're the type that's rolling your eyes about the Purdy puns by now.
No, I love it.
You do?
I love it. Honestly, if you guys go on to win the Super Bowl, I am so here for all of the, he's going to have movie deals.
Totally.
Book deals and merch for life. I mean, what a story, right? He comes in, and then we gotta get rid of the Mr. Irrelevant title for everybody. I mean, if Mr. Irrelevant can come in and lead the Niners to a Super Bowl win, you can't call the last pick in the draft Mr. Irrelevant anymore.
No, the name of the book is Relevant. That's going to be the name, and now
so good,
right?
It's so good,
yeah.
So
I mean, Mr. Irrelevant now in the future is going to be an even bigger deal. Right next year's draft, the last pick. I mean, they're going to have Brock Purdy probably do the interview of whoever this next one is.
It's you know what? He seems like he's such a great kid. I love listening to his interviews and him reacting to LeBron tweeting about him. I love finding out that he was a Marino fan. It's really a great story. Regardless of what happens, I think it's awesome. And I think we were talking about Kyle Shanahan yesterday and, Coach of the Year, which I think Brian Dable will end up winning. But the fact that Kyle Shanahan just continues to do what he does with every, hang up that keeps getting thrown in their way is really remarkable. I think it's all just a really great story.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
Brock Purdy is a great guy, but according to sources, Jalen Hurts is a massively better guy.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yep, here we go.
Here we go.
No, let's Joy, we should do this again soon.
We should.
After we know the outcome of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to come on and either brag or take my punishment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you haven't even made a pick yet, so yeah.
She has the Eagles winning 27-10. Just read between the lines. That's all you need to know.
No way, definitely not.
All right.
Eagles by 17 is not your pick. Okay.
Look, it's going to be a massive differential.
Joy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the game.
Yep.
All right.
You too. There it goes. Joy Taylor.